Okay. We're just recording.
Cool. So today, what we're going to do is I'm going to give you a quick presentation about performances with animals that people have done. Give you guys some inspiration, some things to look at, some things to think about in making your projects not purely technical, but also getting these kind of performative media aspects of expression going on in projects too. So I'm going to do that. Then we're just going to have open lab where you guys should start getting out sensors, seeing if you can sense what's going on with your worms, designing things to feed birds and squirrels with and move stuff around. Okay? And I'll be here to help you all consult and we'll figure out things together. Okay? So we'll just first thing I wanted to do was I'll play that next. I'll play that while we are learning, or while we're doing our little open workshop lab thing. I'm gonna play some music from one of the projects that I'll talk about. Animal performances. I have videos for you guys too. I'm just really spoiling them today. Oh man, this computer's so slow. Do people who's heard of soft circuits and e-textile stuff before? A little bit. So a week from today, I arranged for us to actually have a little workshop about doing soft circuitry stuff. So there's a whole lab at MIT called the High-Low Tech Group, HLT Media at MIT. And they do lots of stuff with making circuits that use things like conductive threads instead of wires, and flexible neoprene pads as pressure sensors. So things that can withstand lots of abuse because they are stretchy and flexible and soft, and things that you can interact with in different ways. But we're actually going to have a guest person teach a whole class, and that's going to be over in TSRB. So a week from today, we'll have a special thing with that. Then 2 weeks from today, we're going to have a special guest speaker, Amy Youngs, the lady from Ohio, who does all kinds of vermiculture stuff. So she'll have all kinds of great ideas for worms and things like that. But if you guys are interested in soft circuitry stuff, you can check out the High-Low Tech Group. They do all kinds of cool things, and particularly...
Anna's stuck in the elevator.
Wait, you mean the sketchy one?
Someone's having a worse day than me. She just said I'm stuck in the elevator trying to get out, then I'll be there.
Is the elevator right up there?
So,
I love that elevator because sometimes you have to pry it open with your hand.
Serious?
Yeah, it's really good. Sometimes you have to force it closed or things. It's such a good elevator.
yeah, that elevator's pretty nuts.
Oh, she's on his way.
But, so yeah, soft circuit stuff right there. One of the students from there, she has this whole website called How to Get What You Want, and she lists things like if you want to do some sort of sensor with soft circuit materials, you can have a zipper that makes a light go brighter or dimmer as you zip it or unzip it. Tilt sensors, all kinds of great stuff. It's a really great website. So check that out. Right now, animal performances. Animal performances, my most beautiful PowerPoint. So there's one of the main guys, Richard Schechner, who founded what field? Performance studies, yeah. So he even talks about performances are not just human performances. Human performances are one little subset of overall performances. Basically, any performance is an action that takes place in a real time and a real location. And so it can be even the more thought to be genetically pre-programmed actions of maybe lower animals, even though I prefer not to look at the evolutionary tree as things are lower, we're all just divergent. But so there's more genetically fixed actions. Maybe your cockroach always does this, whatever. To then you get into kind of humans doing like a lot of more like religious or social rituals, all kinds of things like that. So there's this whole big amazing tree of rituals in the world. We're going to look at animal rituals. So there's animal rituals going way back, and they've been very strange art forms. So one of the earliest animal performances I saw was right after the French Revolution. The king used to have this like great menagerie, and then when they overthrew the king, they're kind of like, what do we do with this menagerie? And most of the animals just kind of died because nobody was taking care of them. But there was 2 elephants that they managed to save, and they actually had like, they became kind of like celebrities. They became like almost like heroes of the revolution kind of thing. And so they decided to have this huge performance for them one day where they got like this huge like orchestra, and they just played music for the elephants. And so the elephants would like do things, and they would like change how they were playing it with the elephants. The elephants started mating. They would like play it, and they actually had people doing like paintings while it happened to like document like the whole performance. And they sold them as like little ancient postcards back to each other in like the 1700s. So there's one of them of 2 of the elephants getting it on. So mating is often one kind of performance that people use. There's a guy named Xu Bing in China, and he has a performance called Cultural Animals. So in short, what it is he has 2 pigs that have sex with each other, but he paints different characters on each of the pigs. So one of the pigs has Chinese characters all over it. The other pig has like English lettering all over it, and therefore it carries with it this rhetoric. So it's a very basic change to like go from, I'm going to have this very technical project of like, how do I get 2 pigs to have sex on command, which was a very kind of a bit of a feat for him, especially in like an art gallery space like that, to then like he just adds this one little tweak, and now it's kind of like, whatever happens, it becomes this weird metaphor of like, America is fucking over China, kind of thing. Weird stuff like that. There's a very strange artist named Yu Ji, who did a project called Beauties Kiss, where he's in this big plastic box, and they fill it full of baby chicks, and the baby chicks, he takes them all out with his mouth, and then places them through the box, there's a little plastic hole here, until the box is mostly empty. Very strange piece. There's a guy named Matthew Herbert, who just a couple years ago, what's up, Eric? How's it going, man? Okay, there's all kinds of pictures and stuff. It's great. It's almost like you don't have to read because there's pictures. Anyway, Matthew Herbert did a project called One Pig, where he documented the entire life of a single pig that was destined for the slaughterhouse. And he recorded audio samples of it. He then even ate parts of the pig and recorded samples of it after it was slaughtered and processed. He even took some of the parts that they were going to throw away and turned them into like musical instruments. So like there's like these devices controlled by like some of their sinews of the pig. Very strange, very weird music. But he kind of documented this pig that was going to be destroyed anyway and kind of immortalized it into an entire album. Natalie Jeremenko, which I think I spelled her name right. She has a couple different projects. She does a lot of kind of art design projects that are about trying to connect people with their environment and get people to think about their environment more. So here's one that I think is particularly relevant to our class. This one's called Amphibious Architecture. There are fish that live in this river in New York, but people aren't always aware of it. So she wanted to make the fish's presence more aware to people or not. So she built these little, or she probably had her design team. There's a bunch of people working on these projects. built these little fish sensors. And so whenever they see a fish going by, they kind of light up at the top. And so you get these little displays of the fish are going by, the fish are going by. They also have an active component where you're supposed to be able to send text messages to these little buoys, and the text messages then like make the buoy rock around. So like when a fish is swimming by, you can be like, yo, what up, fish? And somehow the fish gets your message. It's very strange. She has another project called the Cross Species Adventure Club, where they hold big gala dinner parties for human and animal guests to eat the same thing. So there'll be a big dinner party where you share your meal with a goose. So you're like eating some, and then so all the foods are human foods / animal foods at the same time. She somehow is doing this project, but the main guy who did it was Chris Wobkin, beetle wrestler. So what it is you put on this big beetle helmet so that you can wrestle with this male Goliath beetle, and it kind of shrinks you down to the Goliath beetle's size. So you move this thing around, and it moves this tiny version of it around, and you try to kind of wrestle and see who can flip the other one over first. So it allows you to kind of play with the animal at its own scale. There's a guy named Ollie Palmer who has something called Ant Ballet. And Ant Ballet, there's like this robot arm that is supposed to choreograph different movements of these ants around kind of an arena, forming a big balletic experience. So here's them setting it up. In your little book, you should have already read about Cybiotica. This was our Silent Barrage. This is a project by a group in Australia called Cybiotica Tech, where they take a rat brain tissue and it feeds to these little poles that then print brain activity onto these poles within this huge room. And when people walk around, it actually sends electrical impulses to the brain that the rat's brain is sitting on top of, and it changes how the poles are being written on and played with. One of my old professors, Deep Weaver, does a lot of projects that don't actually involve animals, but they're all about animals. He takes a different animal, he's done monkey, wolf, elephant, and he does these really huge performance projects that blend all kinds of cultural and scientific facts about the animals into massive performances. I'll show you a video of that. Ollie Palmer has another project where there's this ant that lives on top of this white orb, and whenever it walks somewhere, the orb always rotates, so the ant always stays in the same place. It's a very interesting feedback thing. B.F. Skinner, I think I may have showed you guys this already, one of the earliest cybiotic devices was at the end of World War II. They were like, oh, how do we make our homing systems better? Let's put homing pigeons inside the heads of our missiles and have them actually direct the missile where to go to. Unfortunately, the war ended, and he was sad he was not able to see his project live to fruition. Ken Ronaldo, husband of Amy Youngs, who will be talking with us in a couple weeks, did the Fighting Betta Fish project. So it uses a natural proclivity of the fish to attack and fight each other, and staging them in a more human accessible way. So we built this kind of like war ring where these fish drive around in their giant robot bodies and attack each other. There's the Biotic games of Ingmar Radel Cruz. You control little paramecia, you can play Pong, you can play Pac-Man versions, all kinds of things by driving around these tiny little paramecia. David Bowen just had this new project called Fly Revolver. I'll show you a video of that in a second. And let's go straight to some videos so you guys can see some things I actually queued up for you. So there's a lot of crazy different things. So I'm trying to show you guys, you're not going to be limited just by the technical aspect. So this project's weird. There's not that much going on other than there's an orb full of fruit flies. They're being roughly tracked. And these fruit flies, or maybe they're just regular flies. I thought they used fruit flies. Just optically tracked, and this controls the movement of this gun. So You can see it just looks at them going in one very specific place. And if a fly lands directly in the middle, I think then it pulls the trigger and starts shooting. So it's very, very strange.
So the gun is moving along with the fly.
Roughly, yeah. The gun is moving along with the flies in a very specific section of this cord that's going on. So I feel personally it's maybe not that meaningful of an interaction that they're having. I think you guys can do better. What's that?
The flies are just a random seed.
Exactly, yeah.
It's so funny to how they can go.
Great. What's the rule where you can only skip the first 30% of any YouTube video?
Yes.
Come on. Show me the... I've seen...
Oh, crazy with their video editing.
Yeah. Good job.
I think it's just a
This
hat.
guy. I think it is too. But I saw a video of it actually running around in there. Here's Deke Weaver. So he throws these massive, one-time, elaborate theatrical performances. Involve tons of people from the audience, giant elephant costumes and puppets and props and stuff like that. His most recent one, Wolf, he actually had people, instead of staging, so this was staged in an old Olympic equestrian like hangar garage. For Wolf, he actually had people, all the actors dressed up as like park rangers, and they rented like little buses, and they drove people out to the woods. And while they were on the bus, they were like singing like campfire songs and stuff. And they bring them out in the woods, and there were these other actors all dressed like wolves that would like chase you through the woods and stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. So you're not limited by installation artifacts like, you know, the fly revolver. I have a thing. There's animals. I have a random seed. You know, you can build your whole own worlds for whatever you're doing. Go nuts.
I mean, come on, there haven't been elephants on the Great Plains in North America for, what, like 4,000 years?
1 hour, 15 minutes.
Here's a quick clip of that silent barrage.
In 2006, scientists and artists came together in a collaborative effort to explore and expand our understanding of such intrinsic processes as thought and decision making on a project that became known as Silent Barrage. In a petri dish in Atlanta, a complex network of tens of thousands of neurons are grown in vitro on the scale of 1 millimeter squared, and through a grid of 60 electrodes are interfaced with a digital network consisting of multiple robotic bodies. The dish, known as a multi-electrode reflexive juxtaposition, it is the audience that provides the stimulation to which the cultured cells respond.
Boom, they close the
Using
loop.
cameras and position mapping technology, the movement of the audience within the installation is relayed to the neural network via the electrodes as sensory data that triggers a response, which, in turn, is sent back to the robotic bodies, creating a closed feedback loop between the neurons, the robots, and the audience. The viewers are communicating with the neural network, and it with them. The accumulation of marks over a period of time delineates the interaction of the viewers with the neurons. For the audience itself, it's as if they've walked into the brain of a semi-living entity, a biomechanical organism that actually reacts to their presence. The brainchild of Philip Gamblin, Guy Bennery, Dr. Steve Potter, and with the invaluable assistance of engineer Peter Gee and seminal work by Dr. Nathan Scott, Silent Barrage is the culmination of 7 years of research and is a continuation of an art and science project named MeArt, the semi-living artist, one of Cymbiotica's first collaborative projects. A project that grows mammalian brain cells in culture upon a multi-electrode array to form a long-term two-way interface between cultured networks and a robotic arm.
And real quick, and so that's not where they stop though. The whole reason for this thing is because it also reflects some of the research that they do with epilepsy. And so it was supposed to give you a look into, I guess one of the ways that they treat epilepsy is they actually, so your brain has all these electrical firings going on all the time, they actually put some electrodes in your brain, and it starts firing stuff, and it actually kind of calms it down. And so some of these rat brains that they use, they're, I guess, predisposed to being epileptic. And so when the people walk through, it actually kind of calms down the brain a little bit.
Does that hurt the rat out? Like,
This rat is not alive.
I was
Isn't
gonna
it
say,
just
is it just
brain
the
that
brain?
Its brain has just been taken out
just
and
the
is
brain.
kept somewhat alive. It's weird. That's why they called it the semi-living artist.
how did the rat die?
It's just a lab rat. So they normally do all this research where they take rats. So I have my sister-in-law she is a biochemist, and I visited their lab one day, and they were like, oh hey look, we have these mice. You want to see how we like do our experiment? I'll prepare it for you real quick.
Oh my god.
And this guy just went like, "Brr, brr," and then like suddenly like, you remember Mortal Kombat, like Sub-Zero, like, you know, pull the guy's head off and his spine's like hanging out? They just like, really quick, just like took the rat's head off of it and like all of its
Just like
spinal
pulls
cord.
it out.
That's
Just like, they
allowed.
had like a little like razor.
How is that allowed?
I mean, it's
They're
lab
scientists.
rats.
They get big IRBs and they're lab rats. This is what they do. This is how they make all the drugs that keep you alive.
Terrible.
They have all kinds of lab rats that they test all kinds of different things on.
What do you think about that?
I mean,
It's a strange
it's either on
issue.
humans or on rats, so.
Yeah. There's all kinds of.
Our project should be, we
I
should
don't know if I
like,
support that.
enables
I
rats to
don't know
use
if I
this to
support
human.
the beta project and stuff like that, because that's certainly, like, it'll kill them.
Move them around in jars.
No, when they see each other, they release a stress hormone that will kill them, so that, like. So I think they can live like 4 or 5 years. Well, they live in these huge rice paddies, but like, they live in puddles, but those puddles are actually thousands of gallons, so they don't normally run into each other. And one runs away when they see each other, and then it's done. They don't ever have to. They don't.
The
really
beta
kill-
fish?
Yeah, they don't really kill themselves in the wild because they have space. Well, I'm sure it's happened, but.
Cool. So now let's start working with each other. So everybody get to your groups and battle stations.
Can I go wash my hands?
Sure.
Oh no, Anna! Yeah.
You're just trapped?
Yeah, I just got stuck in the elevator. Like,
Crazy.
Up to the floor of my apartment. No, I'm my apartment because I'm getting my stuff. And like all of a sudden the door just like didn't open. So I was like, door open. And I was like, no. And I was like, door open. And then it like brought me down to floor 3. So I was like, maybe I can get off here. And it just like wouldn't open. And then it did that for every single floor of the apartment and wouldn't open the door. I'm like, I'm not on here for a joyride.
Crazy. So, real quick to update you, I just went through a little presentation about animals and performances. Your collaborator can get you up to speed on all those strange things we just saw. I skipped over some things, like, we started off pretty grim. There's some like weird like picking up baby chicken with your mouth and spitting into a hole. This guy just lights rats on fire. Hey, that thing looks cool.
Yeah.
But then this music is by a guy named Matthew Herbert, who documented a pig's life before it went to the slaughterhouse, and then recorded all. Well, I mean, terrible.
Eat it. I had pet steaks once,
Ah,
and then it got turned to bacon. I didn't eat bacon.
ah.
I
But then
love
you
it.
started.
I love Then I ate it again.
Well, anyway, so he recorded it while it was still alive and made some weird music.
Have you watched the TV show?
Oh yeah.
Have you watched Upstream Color?
Yes.
That's like a mix between the two.
Yeah, yeah. This is one pig.
I struggle with Upstream Color, so you should tell me why I should like it.
I thought it was too simple. But anyway, we should talk about animals, projects, get in your groups.
Okay. So, what we're doing here is, so I have okay, if I go to the PetSmart thing on Tuesday,
PetSmart, I'm going to be at PetSmart company you guys look at all the crazy stuff they have to interact with animals between 6:30 and maybe 8.
Okay, so it's the fonts and then 9. So we gotta take it harder to get to here.
Well, it's slightly after rush hour. It's really bad between 5 and 6. But not too bad.
Actually, that is kind of important. Yeah, because Kansas
That was a lot further to be a bike.
oh, biking is on here. Biking is empty.
I tried to meet you guys halfway since you're all over here. I was gonna go to the edge of it. It's right here.
Here's instructions.
Oh, I made cornbread for everyone. Would anybody want some cornbread? Boom. Some cornbread.
You're like, what's the occasion?
I moved into a new house. And, huh?
So if I arbitrarily decide to go to PetSmart, alright, I'll get this. And we got a new order there. If not, I'll get it on this. Here it is. Yeah, I'm not off of this one.
Cool. Good job.
Yeah, so. Everything.
We got this. What do you want to do with it?
Okay, so what we need to do is that little lid goes on top of here. It's sensor pad turn servo. Like it's a perfect apparently it's the amount of food cat needs to eat.
Okay.
So it'll spin for like
So it's good for 5 days of feeding.
so it's usually on a timer and it spins like every so often. And it'll be like new food. So the first one's gonna be empty. Or it'll be full of
Okay, that seems like 2 options.
yeah, or the cat can like discover that this is what is for food.
Okay.
And then there's wires. There's wires in here that are connected to the timer. I'm gonna take this lid off and go tap into like these wires. Instead of the timer being input, I'm gonna use the 2 cross lights. You're gonna have 2 photo sensors that go in the X, so there's a certain point that it has to be at, instead of just like one photo sensor. Because then it can be anywhere along that line, so it's like a point where the photos are off, and then it'll change once the impact crosses that point.
Is that typical to, because we then have to connect the 2 photos.
You don't have to connect them with each other, like there's literally like there's like a photo.
So like 2 separate codes, but the same code.
Yeah, and they both have to be like on. So like if one's on, one's off, they'll do it. If they're both off, then good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Where are these going to be?
Like this is probably gonna be most people have like their cat feeder in like a laundry room or something.
Okay, so
So the photo.
this is the laundry room up here.
Yeah. So this is the feeder. The point of like feeding will probably be like right around here. So then there would be like a light on this side, and like say it's the light right there, and then the 2 photo resistors over there, so that the X, where both lights cross, where the photo resistors are, is like right here.
Okay.
Because if like say you just have one, the cat can be over here to turn it off, or the cat can be like over here. So I figured 2 is better.
Makes
to
sense.
turn
That's a
off
good idea.
and have it connect. And then there's also wires, and there's like a servo up here.
Cool.
So maybe these.
So, do you actually need the, this is just a servo, right?
Yeah.
So
Oh,
let's
but it
start
only
with
has
the
2
pressure
wires.
pad.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it is a servo then, right?
2 wires in here. It might not be a servo. It's this
Maybe it's
thing.
just a motor.
Could
And
be,
then
yeah.
download servo.
And it just turns on for a certain amount of time.
I think it turns for certain increment.
Movement.
Whatever it is.
So I think like maybe you said I have a water bottle that's like this,
And then
like
there's the
have a
things
strip
here
over
that I
it,
can use to
and
go
then
through
hold it up.
this like whole piece here, and then I could access the wires that go to the timer.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I would say first thing for you to do is take that apart today and see if you can start controlling that thing.
Awesome.
Okay?
That's good.
Cool. Yep.
Anybody have a screwdriver?
Yeah, I don't think I can't
Well,
think of a
part of
reason
one
we could
works,
leave
as
that.
long as it's the screw part.
That works.
Yeah, it's just like 100 metal.
It's not like the handle.
I
Yeah.
have a this class screwdriver here. This is
You two Shane up an apple?
I also
Yeah,
have
but
what
Nice.
I'm saying.
Yeah, is there,
Well, I mean, we could theoretically use the touche. but-
Does that sound good to you?
yeah,
I don't know if that's, maybe that's like a bonus or good finish.
I think we just need
To make it more reliable, we just have like
But you know how to
adding
use
inputs
them.
as we
And
finish.
the
Like I have a
cat feeder now, so we have
radar
mine.
sensor.
so we're not gonna have any sort of.
We could have a speaker. It's like dinner is served or something like that. Yeah. So the cat, and that way it would be like cute.
And that way, like, yeah, that we know.
Make sure that,
stuff
hold on one
Yeah.
second.
Here it is.
Or if you say dinner is served.
Make sure that none
So
of
this
your
is
things are shorting
how
out
about
each
if
other.
you put it in your box because mine's not very organized.
Did you see that?
Okay, what would you want to do?
They don't work very
I-
One of the problems with
It's
the breadboard
potential
is you can have
background.
things that are accidentally touching each other. Now those three in particular
So it's
don't
like a
actually
2D
matter
or
because they're all touching the same line down there anyway. But you might be careful, like
I think you can
if
record
this
matches.
part was touching over there or something like that, you can short out your circuit.
Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna stop.
Cool.
Our ones
It's
have
like
been very good.
Nice. Not trying to get calls.
No,
Awesome. Good job, man.
Yeah. By the way, I have a car that can hold 8 people in case someone wants to ride with us tomorrow.
Nice. Carpool. Save the environment.
Yeah. I know exactly which one it is. I've been to it.
Yes.
I've been to this one multiple times.
Other way.
She enjoyed it though. You
There we
cried
go.
when you stopped.
I called my mom. I was like, hey, you know what? Maybe for like, if I should
The
die.
spoiled animal.
But my mom is not with me for credit card to buy cat feeder online. She got like, she's like, what's it for? It's like, oh, she's so excited because we're doing like all this research.
So basically, okay.
That's not you guys get that
We
great.
got this.
That's smart. Okay.
You sound like you got good game plans going on. What's
Yeah.
up?
No, we have a
Yeah.
game
You
plan.
see this?
We're gonna make them start building.
Wait,
Cool.
that looks like a big.
What is it?
Well,
very
we're gonna
cool.
start
I'm
with just
very
the pressure
excited.
pad and the servo, and I already have a feeder thing started at home.
Okay.
So this goes to the timer.
And
That does?
Yes,
Oh,
this is
yeah.
the timer right here.
Just like
Comes through.
oh, he's already done the wires.
Okay.
well, no, actually, it sounds over there for
Close. Well, there's a stairs and we should be good.
So we need two
Okay,
photos.
who's more red? Keep talking.
2 lights. So.
Sorry.
Would we want like lamps?
Well, they're-
Flashlight.
Very
Professional light would be good.
okay, question. Where's my servo?
Other side,
Other
under
side.
my box.
Good.
In your box. Okay. So we're gonna just test a bunch of different inputs, and we're definitely gonna use the pressure, but we're also gonna try this guy and stuff like that, trying to back it up. So what we're going to do is experiment with different sensors and fix which ones we want to use in the final thing. That's
Cool.
what we're doing right now.
You're doing birds or squirrels?
Resistors.
I would.
Probably cats, whatever lives in his neighborhood. Yeah.
I
We
would.
might need some.
While one of you is setting up your
1.5
sensors,
volts.
hooking them in,
I'm
I would
6
also
volts,
work
right?
on making
I have a
a
6 volt battery.
fake squirrel or bird.
So we're good. I don't know if we need devalue.
So I would try to look up how much a squirrel or bird weighs,
I'm pretty sure
and
I
try to
have
make
to
something
like a-
roughly about that size.
Well, I could just
that
go
you
through
can
and buy
quickly
the batteries,
prototype
but
with.
these 2
And be like,
wires
oh, okay,
will
look,
be
it can get
batteries.
sense, it can't get sense.
This is the.
Sound good?
I think this is
Cool.
just like the
Thanks.
bird board.
I have fake squirrels for Maddie.
Ah,
They're about approximately the right size.
cool. One of the most
They kind of have their heads torn off.
One of the most valuable things for my research with the ants was always a dead ant. Because I would tie like a little piece of fishing line to it and move it around, and then I could like test to see if certain things get detected or not. And because the dead ant's already the same size and shape as a
I need
regular
a
ant.
speaker right of some.
What
Yeah, let me see if this thing
this
has a
works,
speaker.
oh yeah, it helps me visualize like what does it mean to live in it. What if it were a kangaroo simulator? So their digestive system is like the external weird like pouch thing, and what if it had like the haptic digestive vibration?
That's smart that I don't really.
Kangaroos have external
Well,
digestion.
it's not like external, but it's like a weird. That's what their whole pouch thing is for, or something like that. Like they
I
like.
thought it was just to hold babies.
No, they like feed and like digest things through it. Don't they?
Really?
This is your baby
I don't.
No,
I don't
it's
think
just
so.
it's basically like a
Babies.
womb. It's like an
An
external
outside
womb.
womb.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's where their nipples are to feed their young. So their baby's only like this big when they get born, and then they like have
Yeah,
to
then they
crawl
put
up
It's
their
like a
belly.
simulating like this like weird external thing, which would have been the same as like animals that have like bacteria and stuff like that, I guess, for them. And then this idea of like, oh, they're like
My mouse is
similar
getting
and worm stuff, and then would vibrate like a digestible.
Okay,
This still works.
And then
6-volt battery died.
the other one.
So we can need just a bunch of blue batteries, honestly.
Guess I'll think some more about.
Wait, what did I do? An explosion?
My 6-volt battery.
Well, it could be
Okay.
something
Oh,
like.
Explosion of Project 2.
What is?
I mean, yeah, it's still a good idea.
I think like we need to
Scripting
get
it
this
around,
running,
like,
basically,
Which doesn't have to necessarily be a kangaroo. Or it could still be a kangaroo, and your babies could be the worms. And then something happens where the worms get born after a while, and released back into the wild.
I just bend over and skeleton up and I'm like, go forth, my children.
available
Yeah.
between like
But if you wanted to do
2 and
the,
That would be cool.
I haven't
I would judge you. I just saw that.
Okay.
Thank you. I mean, it's just
We
a
can
nice
free
fun.
we can meet.
Okay, well, I was gonna do something along the lines of like, what if it simulated some sort of animal? Do you have to know
Got like
a
claustrophobia.
lot of people have
So you have a counter, right?
Okay.
Right, so there.
if
You think
if
Star has a
wanted to-
counter built into it, right?
We're like, so that'd be that.
So
But then,
it would not be
I like
very
the
difficult
digestive
to
food.
just
Like,
go,
literally,
hey,
like,
we have a counter,
eating the
and I need to
systems
count
of
every time it just keep counting, and okay, I can't see tomorrow, we have chapter 625, but it's a very short one.
Well,
Oh, yeah,
it's
it's
also
big
kind of a
chapter.
nice interaction
But
of
it's,
like, I'm eating something, and then I'm like
See, I have
disposing
a
of the
secondary
rind
computer
Yeah.
right
that
on my
uses
body.
something that's
Yeah.
gonna
Or it can be also.
I really want this like,
I think we should.
before I try to do this like
more
more
fast.
Well, how do we get the count? Because
Yeah.
I do know how to get the Arduino power,
A little bit tonight, a little bit.
but I don't know how to get data from
Are
it.
you available?
Unless we have like some sort of analog thing
I was
that's
just
drawing.
thinking
It's
that.
not.
Yeah, we.
I'm free tomorrow. Also.
Well, I have another servo and we can have it just like
We
out,
could,
right?
in terms of like the fashion,
Yeah, I
reproducing
can
the
work
fashion
that.
element,
I
we're
have regular
discussing later
repetition tomorrow.
too,
But I have my
is
class.
like you could have this,
And the
it's like this
recipe for those
digestive
classes
fashion.
from,
So
uh,
it's with, it takes in inputs from what the worms do, what they're
Yeah.
doing,
Okay.
then also what you're eating as
Let
a
me
person,
see.
and at the end you take some of the compost that you get and you like freeze it into like cast it into something like a bracelet or like necklaces and make other kinds of weird fashions like that
So
too.
that would be one way to kind of
I will make wearable planters. I've seen a lot of those lately on
Yeah.
the internet.
Wearable?
Yeah, wearable
Oh my gosh.
Wearable ones?
planters. Like,
Like little earrings that have little air plants in
So
them.
it's
Yeah.
Oh, no,
overfilling
I actually thought
with
about
I mean,
those.
those are really
Look, oh, it
compost.
shows
But
the ground.
maybe I'll make
I've
some.
seen like people,
Yeah.
they have like earrings that hold flowers.
Yeah.
Oh,
I've
we
been
do have
trying to
supplies.
get this like weird like moss necklace thing for a while.
Mm.
There is a store.
how
I'm gonna
is
go
this
to the
gonna
store after we go.
Yeah.
From 36 to like 67.
Well, what about,
And then at
you have
7
these
o'clock,
sacks
we
of
go to
stuff.
this store that I know. That
What if
is where I got all my
your
supplies.
worms
So, like,
control some sort of lights and heating elements
I'll
and
get money
maybe
after
even
I-
moisture elements
Um,
in parts of your suit
and
that
then
then
you get
cause like plants to grow.
light sensor slash my boyfriend also has
So then you're getting
But
this
yeah,
like worm
so I have
to
Yeah,
plant.
Wednesday, I have lab until 7:30.
Okay.
Do you want to just set it up and do this?
I mean, I would really like that. I just need to
See,
like,
when-
like,
yeah, sure.
Yeah.
My class.
I definitely would love to.
And the speaker can make me feel like a.
I would want
Pretty
to
much
turn
once
into
there's
like
like,
this
my
giant
class
light
is
turtle
just-
things with things grow on them.
Okay, so you like have an hour and a half.
Yeah, something.
Possibly.
Stuff like that.
But we're gonna put it back. I didn't say that.
I mean, in theory, you know, they get like some Arctic sea turtles.
Because we just need a prototype.
Yeah.
I've never seen like a Galapagos tortoise with like trees coming out of it, but.
So.
I'm
Who
gonna
knows?
turn it into a turtle. Okay.
Sure, but yeah, that sounds awesome.
Side of this thing.
Okay, guys. should be able to just re-download it.
Well,
What's the black and white part, the motor?
Yeah, this goes to this. So this one needs to be cut off. These go to the battery. So these are.
So that they don't touch.
Couldn't be more fun versus
Yeah.
Do you have? Can you hand me? Are you gonna put one of your worms in here?
So what we can do
Hand me one of the worms.
is.
Let's see.
Some are more breadboard. There's a little. Like,
Yeah, we'll
we
look
can
at it.
solder, or we can just solder the wires together.
I think
to-
he's the kid.
Like this is gonna have to go to two.
One of these needs to be brown.
So we can solder all the wires together.
That worked out. I saw her.
So an idea that Danielle had earlier
Maybe we could use.
was about.
It's thinking.
So one of the things with worms is
something that can be like actually used.
you basically can have two types of interactions. Interactions that are going to take place over a long
The
term,
thing is like
time period that are kind of outside of human
Yeah,
scale.
I think we can program.
But the problem with that is we're always so used to
Yeah,
interactions that are very like
with,
quick and like I do something but I see something. That's how human interactions work.
The program is
Um,
brain here.
She had an idea where she would do something where like maybe she would hook up the two shade things like a metal plate and just put the worm in the specific performance area. And so then it's like crawling around
They
in
have
the
a lot
building
of
that
these
it's doing
out
right now would then do something.
Yeah, and I can
And so the
put this little
environment that they lived in would be different
thingy
than
off of.
necessarily the performance area that you put it into.
That's what the
And that'd be a way to
has.
get very quick and
They're
neat.
doing this
Yeah.
The other way would be doing something where you actually get to keep them in their environment, which leads to all kinds of interesting stuff.
Yeah.
And then we have the AC time programmer.
Okay, touch it, Mark.
Alright, we need battery.
Test it for me.
Yeah, and you can see that, you know, even if like you stage them in this very
I'm pretty sure all these
simplified world, you know,
Really?
they're not gonna do what you want, especially in real time.
Will you be able to do that?
I have a little interview meeting at 2 o'clock, but it should last for like an hour.
What is he trying to get them to do, or where we?
So he's got his two shade thing right now.
Ooh.
So we're gonna see if when that
Yeah, I'll
worm
be
touches
good
the
at that.
apple, if we get a different response.
Yeah, we
Come on,
just
worm.
stuff.
The apple's
I'll
right
let you know when I
over
get
there.
back.
It smells
How's that?
delicious.
So, beat 'em up. Get it just the way they're worded.
It's more expressive than
I gave my worms like a strawberry, and he didn't go for the strawberry. I'm like, strawberries are top
I can
fruit.
also take you
Yeah, come on.
Yeah, it's gonna be fun.
That ain't no pear.
Pears are.
I'm gonna put, rearrange the worm, get his head closer to the apple.
Always.
Alright, everybody ready? Look at that, or look at the two shades.
Yeah.
I'll tell you when the worm actually touches it.
This will last.
We should just put it on.
Touching! Oh, you get a little bit of
We
a
also got like a new marker.
touch, yeah.
Really?
Our girls in the house.
Yeah. Yeah, you're definitely able to get a, and even that little slight movement as we saw with the processing sketch where you can teach it, and we were able to get pretty robust changes.
Me too.
Huh.
That worm is so long.
I mean, I feel like we basically
Some
got
good worms, guys.
Yeah.
that. And everything's already hooked up. We literally just need to hook it.
Really, these are your PetSmart worms?
They're all
PetSmart ones died.
Okay,
So, I don't think I was not point that it was too.
Yeah, great return.
At what the names of the wires are, because they're labeled the same way. We're in such.
My parents returned my budgie when I was like,
Is this your stuff, Mary?
Yeah.
I'm just gonna move it so I can get to my stuff.
Alright.
You're
My
okay.
parents from Australia and New Zealand.
Is this yours?
no, what?
Interesting that you call it.
Aren't they the little?
Isn't that just another name for like a parakeet?
Yeah.
Just, I've never heard like an American refer to it as budgie.
No, I only got that from labels.
No, here's my servo.
So that's
Okay.
incorrect or correct or.
It's incorrect.
If you don't have it with you, I can still one online.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, there's a little
And I
changes in
soldered it
color around the
to-
outside.
This is a resistor.
That wasn't that much of
Oh, I can try it myself. I can try like you tiny.
Okay. It probably actually is better. So
Let me look up my.
I'm not sure. It's gonna be something with the to play around. What you can do is, I have that bucket of inductors back there. We can put two of these in series or in parallel. Figure out which one makes sense. And then, yeah, see if you get because the whole thing the inductor's doing is actually giving us that nice curve in the middle, which helps you get these distance measures a little bit more sensitive. So we can get an even sharper point. Yeah. What I would do is also
Is this yours, Mary?
put this.
Maybe.
What would be nice to do is if you can get.
No, it's okay. I just don't know what's yours.
If you had the, have you been able to get the processing sketch they have working? Because we can get one of those working. You tried the latest processing, right?
Yeah. So,
You just trying to trick us about which end's his head. Aha! This is the
I
whole
need a
time.
run board or something.
It's interesting.
But I would just toss it in there. I'm just trying to think of with the processing sketch. We just keep a log, like write to a little text file, and just see if we get like blips and distance measure like throughout.
Something like this would probably be
I
good
don't
because
know
we want
what
it like
this
little
Reno thing.
and long.
Yeah,
This guy made.
we could use that one.
Yeah. Okay, so a
Because it's taking in the
a-
serial, so you can't
a
spy on it while it's still
mechanism.
running Arduino.
So I'll work on that.
If you just open the serial
Because I
monitor,
don't
it's actually
expect
spitting out like
finish
your
right
character
now, so
bytes,
just
since they're not that
kind of-
readable.
Okay,
But,
so if you can
get
get
the
that
processing
guy
sketch
working,
going,
do we have
we can use
resistors? Because
Yeah, we do.
I think the issue is that it's got,
Nice.
according to this site, it's got too much going to it.
Well, I never used resistors the first time.
Good luck. You can always count. So this is a tutorial for making it work on Arduino with pictures, very good pictures and code that comes with it. So we could try.
Okay.
How about I just.
So there's the worms going to a touche device. We're seeing slight differences.
Remember to go back to that website.
Some are more alive than others.
Leaving all of my panicking.
So how's the?
Yeah.
Okay, there's one worm,
I probably actually
and it's going pretty good. I'm gonna drop on the second worm.
Check when your time ticket is.
I don't know how much of that was me touching the
I
worm.
will figure out how to make a
I need an
turbo-
insulated worm. Aha! Insulated worm manipulation device. A IWMD.
It's okay, she's cute.
Attention whore. Yes, you are. Yes, you are.
Okay. So no worm. Worm.
She's like uses it
Hey, definitely get a bump.
very well.
Just
Yeah.
tiny, tiny.
So I would try adding some extra inductors, messing around with that. Yeah, play with it.
Did you adopt her 20 pounds?
Yeah. Was she small when you got it?
Yeah, you could just one hand you.
That one is the only one that.
How old is she? A year?
My friend's dog is just
You know, it took him a while, and now he's like really going for it. I think
That's a big worm.
it's like he's gotten a little more dry, and so now he's like really running around to
You
find.
don't think this stuff will mess with a worm, do you?
Like 120
No.
pounds. And
This stuff's inert, unless you remember
you know,
light it
I think
on
he's
fire.
got Great Pyrenees because he's.
Yeah, it should be okay for them.
She's smaller than we thought she would be.
Really?
Because she's like a lab with floppy ears and short hair.
How's the hacking going?
Yeah, I'm looking at photoresistor stuff.
What?
Because honestly,
Okay, so
all we need to
looking
do,
at registration,
like these go to the motor and these go to the battery, so the only things we're gonna need to disconnect are these wires from the timer and just connect them to our photoresistor, and then we're good.
I'll have
Cool.
to serve I'll figure out how to make
Oh, and it actually labels. It's pretty well labeled in there.
Yeah, right?
Right?
That
I wasn't
real-
expecting that.
I thought I was gonna have to do a lot of
Yeah.
research and like trial and error, but
So yeah, first I would snip off, or you don't even have to snip them because you can actually kind of like
just
touch
like
them
touch them, yeah.
and figure out which one, unless you have already. But even if you've analytically figured it out,
Yeah.
make sure you can actually it actually does what you want it to do.
Yeah.
Cool.
Here's the photoresistor. It's only like 2 wires, so we'll have to figure out like this is not the same number of wires as this, so we'll have to figure out like the point of those. And do that.
So you're thinking you're not going to need a Arduino? Is that what you're saying?
I think we will need an Arduino.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're gonna think of instead
We'll
of using
need the Arduino.
instead of using
but
the Arduino, we're thinking of using one of these, so we can
Sure.
actually not have a virtual computer.
Yeah.
Because I think that would be. I was thinking of making this like actually gadget.
power
It's cheap.
Yeah, exactly. And there's a store that's open. I don't know what it's called. It's right down the street. It's open till like 10 p.m. So we're gonna go there tonight.
What kind of store?
It's an electronics store.
Yeah.
Electrical parts.
Like up towards Howell Mill?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
on Hollow Mill. It's off of like Collier Road.
Yeah, that place is pretty handy.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went there when I was freaking out about my project.
Ah.
I didn't get the mic.
Yeah, exactly. They're the ones that gave you the relay and all the instruction
Yeah,
stuff.
they were like, so it's a bare relay, so let's figure that out. I was like, all right, I don't care.
And then also, like,
I'm gonna just go shopping for
I would say that, at least my experience has been that they're kind of this electrical engineering old guy group that can be very curmudgeonly, and I'm just gonna say that it helps to be a girl. Going there, I think you get a little bit better service.
Yeah, I can like pretend to be completely helpless. And
Oh
I'm like,
no! Yeah.
Yep, it worked for me last time.
Yeah.
I was like, I went in there, I was like, I am not an electrical engineer. And they were like, okay, we can help you out. And I was like, perfect.
Cool. But yeah, I would first see if you can power it to actually get it moving how it's supposed to go. Then try to hijack some of these things and see if you can put 2 wires together and send the signal to make it go.
Okay.
And figure that out.
This requires 4
No.
1.5 volt batteries. So could I use a 6 volt battery? Or does that need 1.5 volts? Because I don't know if it needs like
3 times or
4 is
4.
6.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You can use
so
6 volt battery.
I didn't know if it was like just a lot of 1.5 volts and like it added up, or if it was just like, you know.
No, I think I think
It
they're
feels
in
like it's
series.
just- They're in series?
So,
Okay.
yeah, just it adds up.
Okay. Sweet, so I have my 6 volt battery, which will work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it didn't blow up?
I don't know. I haven't tried it, but if I got it at that electrical place.
Cool.
So I can just get another if it doesn't work.
Cool. Awesome. Okay. Do you have a 6 volt power supply right now?
No, I was gonna use. I mean, we could use the. That was one thing I forgot to get was the power supply, and I have an unused. No, that's useless.
So that's really trivial.
Could I use 2 5 volt batteries? Like, would that overload it? I don't think it would.
You mean give it 10 volts instead?
Yeah.
Underload it first. Just see if
Underload
it'll run with 5 volts.
I think.
Yeah.
I mean, it's 1 volt less. It's not that much.
Yeah, I don't know. See if it'll run. It may still spin, just go slowly or something like that. So yeah, try that out.
Those were annoying.
Okay, Larry?
Yeah.
I remember this.
This whole thing. Oh, we're gonna use the code from that, but I think this would be restarting would probably be
Sure.
better.
A lot of what you guys need, because you've definitely proved you can make LEDs go on, you can use a pressure pad. You might want to work on designing your pad
Oh yeah.
that's going to be on top of the pressure pad to distribute the weight,
Yeah.
and see what kind of response you get from that. How's your contemplation going? Hey, look, you found some turtles with stuff growing on them.
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm sure that. Yeah, I don't know why I keep going to these like animal simulation things, but like.
Because animals are awesome.
You're right. So I don't know. I guess I'm just thinking on this like cool. There could be the shell thing. I mean, like this could be like a pretty complete system of like there are like plants or vines growing onto it all this way, and then I think it's just about the details of like where do the ants access something. I think it'd be interesting. Or the worms. I think it'd be interesting to explore the idea that like turtles don't have teeth and have to like match things up really funnily, like with their beak things.
Is there one? Should I get
And
mine?
the fact that worms have to have things matched up in order for it to be like blended really well in the soil. But sorry, this is my turtle with a beak.
How do worms eat?
They just get everything. Well, they actually have mouth.
They have a one-way digestive system. Goes in one side, comes out the other.
A lot of like composting tips are just like the more blended it is and the smaller pieces they are, the better. So that's where I'm.
Let me try.
That's something they have in common. Where probably the smaller and the more blended, the better it would be. So just trying to think of like, how could we fit that in if it's appropriate for this whole turtle simulation activity.
What if it's something, so if you wanted this whole back and forth feeding thing, so what if you have your worms on you that eat stuff? When you eat something, you give them the leftovers.
Yeah.
But what if the way that they eat your food cooks or prepares the food that you're going to eat for you?
Cool.
So within the place that the worms live, you have, maybe it fries an egg, maybe it blends your stuff for you. Maybe you just have servos that grind up your peanut butter and jelly sandwich while it's in a bag, and like kind of digest it so that you can then squeeze it into your mouth. Excuse me.
I wanted to tell you that I had a conversation with Danielle Dixon. She's a biologist.
Cool.
And I wrote some things down. And she studies the interaction of fish in the sea. And she was like telling me, I asked her like, do you have any advice for interactions with animals? And she was like, in regards to fish, they respond well to laser pointers, which I didn't know.
Fish respond well to
She said so they what she said?
I had no idea.
Yeah, like she said something about how like in like experiments and stuff, you can like they will follow the laser for like a food source or something like that. So that was pretty cool. And she said her research focused on the chemical language of the ocean because she said if you think about it, like most creatures that live in the ocean don't have ears or eyes. So they have to find food and like mate somehow, so they respond to the chemicals that they give off. Let's see. Yeah, she said in the ocean, most of the communication is through chemistry. And she says even corals use chemical cues in order to who they should mate with or attack or avoid being in contact with. And she says she works with shark species, which is pretty cool. Okay, she said she identifies the sources of chemical cues that are indicative of a healthy reef. So.
Yeah, and then we need to build our platform, and then I'm just putting this in email anyways for reference, because I can see what.
Oh yeah. Okay. So if a reef is damaged, then the fish won't want to be there. So then they'll find another habitat. But in order for a fish to be like, what did she say? If a reef dies, fish will move somewhere else. But in order for a reef to survive, fish have to be living there. So somehow they have to like attract these fish to a certain area so that the reef continues to live and be healthy.
So how do they attract them there? Or that's what they're working on?
Yeah, that's what she's currently working on. So yeah, it was pretty cool. We talked about chemical views and things like that.
Cool. Awesome.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do you have another 3-volt battery you can use for the moment?
Hey, that would equal 6 volts, right?
What? 3 plus 3 is 6, not 4.
So, yeah, I think we're gonna learn something about electricity too. Yeah.
Yes, I totally bit this after I had 2 of them connected and it was more than a little it was like a sting.
You bit it?
Yeah, it's just like you
Oh.
can stick it in your mouth so it works.
Totally.
But it was like really strong, so I was wondering if it like hurts. I don't know. Yeah.
I hate
Just
test
a mild
centers.
buzz.
This
So-
one like stung me. I was like, oh.
I think we're gonna learn that there's gonna be a difference
Between
between
these.
6 volts coming from 2 little coin cell batteries and 6 volts coming from 4 honking
Yeah.
of those. And I think it's how much like amps they can put out.
Yeah, like the amount of strength of the 6 volts they can put out is like, I don't know. Like
Nobody really understands.
when my
electricity.
giant 6-volt battery work, the one that I brought into class that one day.
I bet it would, yeah.
Okay, or I could just get 2 batteries, honestly.
Yeah.
We could just do that.
Yeah. That is possible too. So yeah, you can try that. And see if somehow it turns on.
Okay. Hopefully
I'm
it
gonna be
does.
surprised if it does, but find out.
Sometimes there's surprises.
I believe in you.
Alright, how's it going, Mary?
It's going. I'm waiting to have another thing so we can try to figure out what threshold we should use for. It sends out a reading like 350 or 450 and which one.
Well, actually, when I actually got this working, a light squeeze
This
was
one,
about
what do you think is scary about it?
about 10.
I'm gonna remove one. I'm probably
And-
gonna get rid of this one.
Even at like max weight, me pushing on it, I got about like
That's big.
It's
25.
still 5.
Well, and this will all matter with how the thing that sits on top of it works too.
Okay. This is the box.
Let's try it with
wood.
Can you poke it?
No, it won't go in.
What are you guys up to now?
Try a different object instead of the apple.
And you try just putting the apple into the soil itself and see if there's any things that change. I'm gonna grab you guys another inductor.
Actually, might.
Oh, can we have? Can I have your package?
This?
That thing. Yes.
Really?
I think so.
Okay, so there's
Oh,
Jump
okay.
wires.
soil.
That's where they are.
No, they're easy to plug into.
Well,
You want another inductor?
that's what I want.
That's
I
what it
went, came over here looking for that. I don't know why I didn't see them.
Well, not in soil.
They're jumper wires. They just plug into an Arduino. Yeah, they're like
So, this is interesting. This is not going to work very well. Because the apple moves it all inside the soil. Which actually may work to our benefit, or may not.
Oh, wait, I think I've seen it. What are you looking for? I found them.
Let me try to show you this station. So maybe it's not even
Sorry, that's
about
the wonder I'm looking for.
Here you guys go.
them.
Oh my god, they're shrunk up. Yeah, they did. My cousin got the Orbeez that like started the size of the
So what do you
big
think?
ones. So they got to like this big.
It looks steadier now.
Alright. So this is for improvising. It said we're gonna try different
Still
sensors.
steady.
Because this is not working as well as we wanted.
Here's the one we already did apple.
What's the problem? You did not have enough wires. Okay, and I'm gonna get the servo. I'm pretty sure I know how, and the platform would be easy.
This is what I want
Yeah,
to
we
try.
pretty much just we can get like.
And we just
Processing, 'cause it
tune
may
the
move,
numbers
but we can't
down
really tell.
a bit until it's right.
But we
And,
have the numbers down there
I'm
too.
gonna.
Those
We don't have. I
shift
won't.
on.
Let's not worry about
Even when the
counting
chart
outside
moves,
right
it
now.
doesn't change that
Let's
much.
just make the system work.
Okay.
We thought about
And so
like trying to change
I
the
guess I'll
code
work on the out and
to
you
make
work on
it
the
like
in.
if we multiply
And I
by
can
10
also do
or
the PIR.
something like that to
really
make
easy.
the
It's like half an hour.
a slight movement more visible.
Maybe.
Okay. Here.
It's great how sensitive it is, though. You can also use my laptop, and where I do have the processing schedule.
Makes himself a little brick.
Oh, there we go. Yep. That was just it.
Andy, do you think if the worms
Yeah,
had
so
that
right now it's,
magnetic powder on them, that would affect their like energy?
I think so, yeah.
Okay.
The thing about the
Do you
magnetic
want to
power
try to
is when it
detect
gets
the
wet,
difference
it
between
doesn't.
birds and
It's not
squirrels,
magnetic.
or just-
Really?
Yeah. So if it touches the worms, it basically.
Because it just stops.
Yeah,
Oh. I've always had it whenever I use it. I
probably a
always
different way.
paint.
Let's look
I
at
guess
the
that.
actual weight. The weight,
kept it from
average weight of a
doing that.
squirrel, average weight of I guess
Weird.
a mockingbird, average weight of a robin, and maybe a card.
Yeah, I guess it's not going to be
Because that's generally what you'll see.
Though it may
I
still
think we
change
have
the
one kid one.
inductance of the worm.
Sure.
Try. Weird.
Do you want to see it? If you have this one, see if anything's inside of it. Or I can press an asking for my.
Oh, sorry. I actually wasn't reading it.
Yeah, I think, I don't know if 5 minutes is enough time to set up the next part. Yeah, 5 minutes working.
I at least got this working.
Yeah, you got that working, which is good, and I have the output working halfway at home, like I started it. So, and then after that, we can try to work on
That was efficiently
making the
useless.
input more sophisticated.
No, it didn't work.
Like, I think the 2-share would be.
Didn't work?
No.
No.
But the pressure pad
The
will work
positive and
and
next to the red wire.
until then.
Birds don't weigh very much for either.
This.
But the thing about it is, like, this reacts to like a lightest thing. Like,
So I was
I
trying
can
to-
just barely poke it and it registers.
So also
Yeah, I
your
was
connections to
thinking
the batteries
maybe
may
we
not
could try
be
to use
good.
the PIR to
A
detect
slightly,
whether it's a
you want to try
squirrel
5
or
volts.
Mhm.
So
by,
you
like,
have your
putting it
regular
above the
yeah,
thing so
regular-
that if it's flying, you know.
That's interesting.
So
it's
you
different
plug that
from
into your
flying
laptop.
than if it crawls up.
Then the
Mm-hmm.
That's
V
one
in
way to try it.
is the voltage that's feed to it. USB is 5 volts.
Yeah.
So you plug one of these in there, and you'll have a steady, more powerful 5 volts.
Yeah.
Coming through. You can hook that up there and see if that works.
Okay. Do I
Actually,
rest for
proximity
this?
sensor goes off.
I am scared that my computer's gonna blow up, Andy.
True or something. And then the pressure pad.
Lessons learned from me.
we're all gonna die.
Well, the proximity sensor
Eventually.
No, it's not my time yet.
Is it up to you to decide?
It's not my time yet.
Okay.
An oar would work and like have it
Try
somewhere
pressing some
upwards
buttons.
so the oar would be birds.
Yeah.
Whereas
Yes,
the-
yes, yes.
Hey, look at that.
It would be either, but the oar would be.
So
how do
maybe you can have like set to true for a few cycles.
So-
like, it just sets it to true for
There
a while.
are-
That
this is
goes off,
why-
and then something lands there, and it's a bird.
This
It
is
just
why
doesn't
people
go off,
invented
and something
alligator
touches
clips.
it. It's a squirrel.
I
Because
think
you,
there was some over there.
yeah. So instead of having to slightly
So
position
that's
that,
a very
you
basic
can
way
just,
to try detecting what kind of animal it is.
them onto the sides of both things.
Okay.
Okay, so that should be easy because I really already have the code for that. So we have our inputs and I have most of the output done. I might have to take some experimenting with it. I have a bottle and then I have a ring of the bottle of plastic and so the servo moves the ring down so that that's the gravity. Yeah, because that shows me the picture of what the feeder looks like.
Cool.
So, I'm making a water bottle feeder.
Yeah.
Kind of scared that squirrels would be able to break through it, but that's okay.
Oh,
Find out.
at my house, we actually don't have as many squirrels, and all the squirrels hang out on the other side of the street.
Do you want to do it by the parking deck? Because there are a ton of squirrels in that.
Yeah, that's true. We could do
Is there a wire running through here, or is this just purely like?
Yeah, there's a wire going.
Okay, so I don't want to hook this end up there.
So we pretty much just have to put things together. You know,
Okay,
or
where's the?
And this is actually really simple to set up.
yeah.
Where the red wire
Three
goes?
wires. I was just confused because I was using 2 wires instead of 3.
Yeah, so if I'm feeling adventurous, I'll
The numbers are nice. Okay.
because that would be best.
That's the end one, right? The red wire's the
I saw it move.
Right down there.
Not-
But the thing is,
Can you put the wire
setting
in?
it to like, we would have to leave it out.
Oh,
Like, leave
is
the
that-
wire go all the
You
way
guys
through,
are,
and
you guys are so
somehow,
silly with this.
Yeah.
You're like,
like what a scroll.
Put the
so
wire in
there's-
the
you're,
first.
you're like, oh no, there's a wire running through my alligator clip. I better make sure not to touch it to anything. Or you can make use of the wire that's in your alligator clip. Touch that to that. And then this.
Oh man, still a name.
There you go.
Good.
Well then.
Look at us, so smart.
And I sent you the. Do you have?
Oh,
do you
also-
mind replying with
So
the link
change
to
it
the
to
set
like
of
a big
the pad
triangle
because I have one too and I might just use that for testing.
Ah.
If you can, try to send to
That's positive.
like,
Is that safe feed in?
contact.
Oh,
Because like when you send me
Yeah,
an email, it just goes to my phone.
This is
If you send you my contact, it goes to
Just
my
like
that.
an
Asshole, like something that would
okay.
make you walk better.
What about,
Okay, now
Try
try
just
to
reply with the tutorial that you used to make the sensor.
Yeah.
anybody happen to have any like aluminum foil?
Not on me, sorry.
Ah.
You setting the time maybe? Oh, am I? I'm not sure. That's the clock. It's the set. Suspend feeding.
Yes,
So
you're right.
what if-
I just said the time.
Connect it to here. Stick it on this.
Is it actually turning on?
Yeah, it's on.
Nice, guys. Underpowering it.
Oh yeah, make sure
So,
That's
you
exactly
get a
what it is.
resistor.
taking
I
like a metal
got a bunch,
thing.
or
This
those
works.
packages.
Yeah, hold on.
I took a bunch of stuff
So,
that I
like,
was gonna
if we
do.
set
But-
something
Right,
one,
he's
Set
got
time
more
of day.
and everything.
Set first daily thing, press clock, and press
Do we have another of the right sensor?
So let's do something like,
Not in here.
we can just plant this as like a big old electrode.
I'll show you.
No, it's
And
okay.
use one of these nice guys.
Okay. Press set until
Grab one of those for me.
Alright.
They're all one touch each other.
More alligator clips.
Yeah. Holy bag. Alligator clips are great.
one.
Yeah, I love them too. Went and got more alligators.
You set it for 1 o'clock, but I set this
Do
thing.
you need another LC6?
Ah, yeah.
Probably.
You wanna take fiction?
Fiction.
I'll set it until it's flash research.
I don't have a science
the
fiction.
power?
Like it's a real class.
I'll actually see what I need first, since I honestly
There's
have
plugs everywhere.
no idea
How
what
many
I
specialties have you taken?
Oopsie daisy.
um,
But yeah, I can't be late today. Cause I gotta run home because I didn't go get stuff for my next class because of registration. I swear, it's not even like valid reasons for it to be hard. It's just technically. You think for a school that does so well in CS, they would have a website to actually work. I mean, handling that much information is probably easier said than done, but.
It's true.
Can we take this with us?
Sure.
Okay, cool. I'll bring it back.
Cool. Okay, guys. For Thursday, do you guys know what you have to do?
Bring in a prototype.
Yeah, you're gonna be presenting a prototype, and then we're gonna be critiquing it. So people are gonna put on their, I'm gonna be very critical of this hat, and they're gonna be like, why are you even using worms? You know, blah blah blah. Okay. So
this has to
critiquing, you need to demonstrate how your animals are gonna be interacting with some sorts of your things. I would give you a set of 3 things to focus on. 1, build an actual thing that your animals are going to like touch, something like that. 2, try to see them actually touch it. 3, try something else once that fails. Okay? So have backup sensors and show us what you're doing. Okay?
Yeah.
I have so much stuff in my box.
How's it going, Hank?
Good, how you doing?
Pretty good. Big premieres tomorrow.
Well, little cast and crew screening. This should be good.
It's open to the public, right?
No,
No, it's not?
no.
Well, it's at the plaza.
Oh, so good test.
It was just somewhere decent.
Between
I mean, it's really for the cast and crew, but everybody's gone, so I doubt
See
if
everyone
more
tonight
than
who's
20 or
coming.
no.
Oh, okay.
So I just opened it up to everyone.
Oh, cool.
I'm ready with you.
I mean, I'm interested to get some feedback.
Later, guys. I'll see you at PetSmart if you come by there. I'll be there 6:30 to 8.
See ya.
You work for PetSmart now?
Okay.
Yeah, I work for
Bye, Sienna.
PetSmart.
See ya.
This wasn't paying well enough, so
I'm just done.
I scoop fish for $7 an hour.
And you get all you can take home?
Oh yeah, it's a grab bag at the end of the day. It's like day-old bread.
I
They're
know.
like, oh, these puppies are a little old. Just grab a couple on your way out.
Once you stop looking cute, nobody wants to pick you up anymore. You can take them.
Yeah. And everybody, if you have questions.